We live in a world of technology. We're always connected. Everything is based on technology. What do you do when your technology breaks down? You call Digital Solutions. Located on Wesley Street in Greenville, Digital Solutions Technology Partners is there to get you fixed up. From business support to home computer repair, Digital Solutions Technology Partners will get your tech issues resolved. Visit us online at www.techresolve.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DSTPI. You can call our office at 903-259-6418.
Okay, I've got 5:02 and we'll call the work session to order. First item on the, let the record reflect that we have Jerry is missing, Brent's missing, and Cedric's missing at this point. And I think we have from Jerry and Brent that they're not going to be able to make it. Cedric is going to try and make it. He's tied up at work. First item for discussion is update on the Hunt County Chief Appraiser regarding new office facility. Brent?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Appreciate your time this afternoon. Wanted to come and present something to you that our board of directors feels is very important. They recognize that Hunt County is growing. They recognize that we have a tremendous need for more space at our office facility. I don't know if any of you have had the luxury of coming by our office during the summer months when we're in full protest mode, but our parking lots are full, people parking on the grass on the street, our lobbies are full, and our appraisal review board room is jam-packed. We also are just about out of office space. So we have found a solution that we think is going to be beneficial to the appraisal district and the taxpayers of Hunt County. There's a building located at 3301 Ridgecrest Road. It would offer us a little over 2,000 square feet additional office space. The design and layout of it, we could configure it to make it a better situation for our taxpayers. It would allow us to run multiple appraisal review board panels. Currently, we only have the capability of running one panel due to lack of space. But by splitting the appraisal review board in half and running multiple panels, we can actually get all of our protest hearings completed in a more timely fashion and get the appraisal roll certified and over to our taxing units a little bit sooner, so you can start, you can know what your final certified values are going to be and start working on your budgets and tax rates earlier. The total estimated cost for this project is anywhere between $1.3 million to $1.4 million. We don't have that number finalized yet. We're still working on getting some bids and cost estimates, but we think it's going to come in between those two numbers. What this means for the city of Greenville, it's an additional annual cost to the city of anywhere from $10,785 to $11,463 over the next 20 years. It's important to understand that what we're going to be asking of our taxing units is for you all to allow us to take the proceeds of the sale of our existing building and put that towards the note that we take on the new building to help buy down some of that cost. So the figures that I've quoted you here, the $10,700 to $11,463 per year, will come down once we sell our building and pay that note down. Currently, the city of Greenville's allocation to our annual budget is $254,000. That's 10.27% of our total budget. The city of Greenville is the fourth largest contributor to the appraisal district's budget. The only other alternative we have is to try to wait this out for a couple of more years and build a new building. And we think this is a much more effective way of going about it to get what we need and save the taxpayers some dollars at the same time. The way that the property tax code works, it states that we have, once the board of directors passes the resolution to move forward with the project, The taxing units have 30 days to take a vote, and we have to have 3/4 approval of our 34 taxing units to be able to move forward with this. I'm not asking for a vote today, I'm just giving you some information on it, give you time to think about it, digest it, and ask me any questions. Our board of directors intends on passing that resolution on October the 30th. I will let Masood know once that resolution is passed, and we'll ask you to put it on your one of your November agendas for the actual vote. We would really appreciate your support in this. I know it's a lot of money. I know that right now budgets are tight, but we really do have a need for this. We encourage you to come by and take a look at our current facility anytime. I can take you over to the new building, show you around, show you some of the designs and layout, visit with some of our board of director members. They'd be happy to explain the need for it as well. So don't want to take up much more of your time, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
At the time of considering buying the exchange building, I thought that you guys were designing a whole new building and had a lot of that done. That was put on hold because you were going to move over to the exchange building.
Well, that's when the Hunt County Tax Office was thinking about purchasing the land adjacent to the appraisal district. And they did have some design work and some architectural work done, but that was not for our office, that was for the tax office itself. We have looked into considering building a new building. The cost of that is way out of our league, and we don't want to go down that road. We think this is a much more economical approach.
So right now we pay $250,000, and you want to bump that up another 10 to 11 million, or 10 to 11,000.
Yes, sir, that's right.
10,785, somewhere between that and 11,463.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And the way that our budget, the way that would work, it wouldn't go into effect until our 2019 budget. So the budget that we proposed already for 2018 will not be affected. You won't see that until the following year. So you'll have plenty of time to work that into your city budget as well.
So this would go to the 2019 budget.
That's correct.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Very good.
Know where the property is, I think it's a good plan. Thank you.
It's a good location. It's centrally located, easy access, and I think it'll serve our taxpayers well. So really would appreciate y'all's consideration. And like I said, feel free to come by and look at our current facility, and we can go look at the new one and talk about it some more if you have any questions between now and November.
I'll make any questions.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, next item is 2017-18 budget discussion.
Yes, Mayor and the council. At the last meeting, we officially presented to you a proposed 2017-2018 balanced budget. And we did give you a summary of looking at 2 pages fact sheet, basically telling you the nuts and bolts of the budget. And I know the budget is a complicated document, it's almost 200 pages. We, myself and Summer and our department heads are here to answer any question if you may have regarding the budget. Later on the regular agenda, we have the couple of public hearing dates set up. That is part of our calendar that we go through the regular budget, regular agenda. But again, we are here to answer the question if you have any.
You had several questions, I think, or you've had a few questions anyway from different council members. Is there anything in the fact sheet that you see as a significant change, or
No.
anything you and Summer think need to be adjusted accordingly?
Not at all. We actually double and triple and quadruple check our number to make sure what we presented to you is factual and correct. So no, we are not changing anything or as submitted to you.
Any questions, comments?
I've got one. This may have to be an executive session. I hope we can discuss this out here or not with the topic. We're looking at, again, we've got a lot of growth in Greenville, a lot of new businesses that we know of and some that we don't know of yet. Does the budget contain, this is gonna be probably a Daniel question, or do we have enough money in here to cover added expenses that may be imposed on the city? Are we gonna be liable, can we provide police, fire, sewer, water for all the businesses that are coming in here? Is that added into the budget right now if we get new growth?
Well, if you're talking about the liability part of that, I definitely would want to discuss that in executive session. But the just raw budget numbers, I think we can talk about that out here, unless you want to talk about the liability portion.
I just wanna be sure the budget, can we cover the new businesses that are coming in? I mean, everything from sewer to water to police and fire, are we covered if growth comes
I
around?
mean, as far as paying
To
for
pay,
the,
to meet the needs of the growth,
where you can't say for all the businesses coming in because there's more
some
coming in
unknown,
all the time.
right, some unknown. Do we have that built into the budget to take care of these businesses?
Well, if you look at our fact sheet, at the bottom of the first page, we are telling the council that in this budget, this year, we are increasing our water and sewer rate and all the fees associated with water utility 5% to generate enough payment for about $13 million water utility bond. So maybe that's part of it to some degree, but I cannot be specific. But we do have a lot of challenges in our water utility area for present growth and future growth that we are looking, and that's behind you at the right. So we are working on several projects, and this is going to be twofold. Next year, we're going to add another 5% because we feel right now we have about $25 million project out there on part of our water utilities that basically most of them are in south and southwest of Greenville, what we call them I-30 corridor, Monty-Stratton corridor, that is going to be taken care of by that item. As far as anything else, I cannot be very specific in our budget right now.
If we coordinated with Juice to see if Juice is gonna have the capability, is that in, if we coordinated to be sure that their budget and the city budget.
Well, I mean,
take care of this together.
general manager of Juice is here. He can speak to the Juice issue. But basically, that's one of the issues that you are kind of concerning. So, but that's going to increase our water and sewer rate by 5% to generate that kind of money for future growth to some degree.
You go back to the water tower, how close are we, where are we right now on the water tower, review that part of it.
One of the $25 million into that scheme is going to be a water tower. That not necessarily has to be a tower, can be a ground storage tank with booster pump or elevated storage tank with no booster pump. But we do have we have one in there. We haven't pinpointed to the location and size of it, but we know it's not an if, it's when and where. So we are looking at that too. But more likely, is gonna be again south part of Greenville or along I-30 corridor through Monte Stratton and in 1570 from Highway 34 southwest.
Then again, you feel good about the budget. Sewage, again, that's,
Water and sewer,
we were
they go
sitting there
together.
with everything is really past Southwest Buick and then past PCA on the north side. We don't have any sewer.
Exactly.
But that's, again, you feel the budget that we've got right now.
If the council approve this budget, adopt this budget, automatically, we're gonna have water and sewer increase by 5%. So we're gonna come back to you and sell a $13 million revenue bond and start some of the project
Okay.
that you are talking about.
But you feel good right now with the plan.
Well, again, is a
It's a wrong
kind of
question to ask.
evolving,
As good as we can do.
evolving
As
is,
good as we can.
one of the problem is kind of chicken and egg concept. You don't wanna go spend tens of millions of dollars and not use the infrastructure too. That's as bad as not having that. So we are very careful tiptoeing to make sure that we are in compliance with the state law and federal law. At the same time, can provide clean and quality water to our citizen, and then have sewer treated too. So it's we are very cautious because, like I said, we don't want to spend money and then not have result for it too. That'd be devastated to our ratepayer too.
Listen, I'm for the growth. I want to be sure that if we have to cut somewhere else, that we can meet the needs, especially on this I-30 corridor out there, to get what we need and bring these things in. Thank you very much.
I have one question. More of a problem, but I have a real problem with page 108 on the budget. Page 108 on the budget. And being new to the council, I haven't been in on this for all these years. So I really don't understand how we come to be $300,000 in the hole to the golf course and maintain this in the hole business for years.
Well,
It seems like we're funding this thing for a few at the backs of many. What's going on?
one of the problem is, in the past, people came and told this council and council before you that let us do that and it's gonna pay for itself. And it did not. So the deficit that you see is because, actually that particular case is very close and near and dear to my heart because I raised that question with the person that said 20 years ago it's gonna pay for itself. And I questioned that why we are losing money at 1 year we lost like $140,000. And he told me, and I don't want to mention any name or blame anybody, he said, well, the last year was too wet, the year before that was too hot, the year before that was too windy. That's what we lost $140,000. People didn't play golf, was too hot, too cold, too windy, too humid, on and on and on and on. And I asked him, why didn't you tell the city council when this council sold $500,000 bond for 20 years? Why didn't you tell him that could be, 1 year could be too hot, we might not get enough player, 1 year could be too wet. You didn't say that. You said, okay, let us borrow $500,000 for 20 years and it's gonna pay for itself. But it didn't. Now, what we can do, and maybe we should do, but that amount of $300,000 is owed to general fund. So But for historical purposes, we need to show it, not forgetting what happened in the past, or we are losing money in golf course, because if we don't show it, then everybody feels everything is hunky-dory and so on and so forth. But we can zero it out and say, okay, we had $300,000 loss to our general fund. But in my opinion, we need to keep it, show it, so in the future, if somebody stand here and told you, well, let's spend $2 million on the golf course, it's gonna pay for itself, that be an indication that it's not gonna pay for itself. So again, the other issue is maybe we need to raise our fee like a private sector. But the segment of the community that are using that area, they are on fixed income, they're gonna complain saying, well, I'm on fixed income, I don't raise my fee. So in a private sector, you have to have enough income to match your expenditure. In government, it doesn't work like that. We cannot raise our fee to say, of course, I'm kind of ignorant in golf. I don't know anything about golf. Mayor can help me. So maybe we need to raise our fee to match the deficit. But again, it's not going to work, because the segment of the society and community that use that facility, they are retired, they are on fixed income. They are not going to take it really lightly. But it is what it is. We are dealing with it. We have $300,000 deficit. We should have not sold $500,000 bond for 20 years and tell the council back then, don't worry, it's going to pay for itself. It did not. And I explained the excuses after that, why it did not. But we can zero it out. But I don't believe that's a good practice to do that, because it's going to hurt the city in the future. So
you're saying the 300,000 really is not money owed, it's just a historical mark? Is that
no,
what
it's money owed from golf course to general funds.
Okay.
So it's $250 million loss.
It
What
wasn't
do
been
we lose?
1 year, it's an accumulation of several years. Now, if you look at the budget, we made some changes, and I give a lot of credit to our park director. We watched the golf course like very closely, auditing and making sure efficiency, equipment, and so on and so forth. And so we are trying to close the gap. But what the $300,000 is accumulation of almost 10, 15 years that didn't pan out like they told the council back then.
Is it paying for itself now?
Well, if you look at, we are trying to close the gap. If you look at our revenue and expenditure, they are pretty close right now. If we lose money, it's going to be maybe 10,000, 14,000, 15,000. It's not going to be large amount. But again, we are watching our overtime, like we put a cap on employee to 20 hours a week, for example, if he's part-time, and then we have a cutoff. That wasn't like that. If back then, sometimes the employee was a part-time 20 hours, but he logging like 38 hours, and the revenue didn't come, so you saw the negative. We are watching. Again, I give a lot of credit to our park director and our finance department. We are watching the golf course very closely to break even, and again, maybe 50, 100 people play there, but the other 26,900 people shouldn't subsidize the golf course for 100 people who play golf. Because other people have other hobbies. We are not subsidizing other hobbies. we just subsidizing the golf player. And so I really don't like that. If we're gonna subsidize, we need to subsidize for all of our 27,000 citizens, because they have different interests, they have different hobby, but we are just doing that to the golf player.
Thank you.
Have we ever considered a public go-kart race track? I'd be very interested. Wouldn't have to go to Caddo Mills, we had a public go-kart track here in Greenville.
I'm thinking that one.
That was a joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it, so.
Well, those of us that are go-kart enthusiasts, it would be nice to have one local.
I think he wants to spend more money.
No, I just, if we got golfers, we ought to have go-kart enthusiasts here
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate your perspective on the golf course, and I'm sure you said what the plan is to reduce the deficit, but I didn't catch it. Could you say it again? What is the plan to reduce this deficit? So, as you
Well,
you so aptly stated, the 27,000 shouldn't subsidize a few hundred. And I'm not against golfers.
Me either.
I'm not against it. I think it's great. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful park. It's very well maintained. There are people playing there at all hours. But we can't subsidize. I agree with you, Mr. City Manager. So what is the plan to bring this within the budget so that it supports itself?
well, what Mr. Turner mentioned, we do have $300,000 owe from golf course to the general fund. Basically, we took money from the taxpayer and put it to the golf course. That happened since 2000, over the years, 10,000, 15,000. We are not, we have a balanced budget, so to speak, on the golf course. We are not losing any more money. But the $300,000, we cannot capture that. We need to write it off of book or keep it for future generation or future council see that. But like I said, if you look at our budget, we have a balanced budget. And we make sure, for example, if we have a part-time, we have several part-time employees. Once they get 20, they need to go home. They don't need to stay there, serve our golf player for any reason. So we close the gap on losing more money. But the big money that Mr. Turner mentioned is $300,000 negative fund balance on the golf course that we have no choice to write it off. But I think we need to keep it as a red flag for future generation or future council, or maybe one day somebody will stand here and say, hey, city council, let me sell $2 million bond, or let me make the 9-hole golf course 18-hole golf course. We're gonna break even, we're gonna pay for itself. Then 20 years from now, then instead of $300,000, you might have $1 million stealing from general fund. So that's a good signal to keep. But we cannot do anything unless, we get beautiful days, we get more player, that we get more revenue than expenditure against the $300,000.
But it does pay for itself now, is what I heard you say.
Well, we made it balanced. Whatever we cut the expenses to match the revenue and expenses. I believe if you look at the page 108, do you have your budget book?
Yes, I do, sir. I have 108.
If you look at we are anticipating $272,201 revenue, and we are anticipating $273,226. So we have a deficit of $900, and we can close that gap within the other efficiency measures. But before, that number was like $14,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year. So we closed that gap. We are at $900, so if we do, for example, a couple of less mowing, we can reach the fuel and maintenance for that $900. So we feel comfortable with what we presented to you.
On the golf course.
you have anything else on the budget?
Yes, I just wonder, is there anything within the budget that takes into consideration the retired employees who put in many years of service to the city of Greenville for a cost of living increase? Because I understand that there's not been any increase in 9 or so years.
Well, this is a tough issue. It's been going on. The city has been dealing with it for almost 7 or 8 years. And always the consensus were that we need to take care of our present employee rather than retired employee, because we do have, like it or not, we do have a lucrative retirement system. And you cannot discount that. So, so if you get a lucrative retirement and then you get Social Security too, then life is not that bad, you know. So the cost of living adjustment is going to be icing on the cake, but whether or not we want to give that icing to our present employee, especially that coming January 1st, they're gonna have additional burden of the health insurance, because we are cutting the subsidy for the dependent from 86% to 75%. Especially employee with dependent, they have to pay that percentage now that they are not paying right now. And then we are changing our standard policy to pay $45 a month, as opposed to right now they are paying $0 for a standard policy. And so taking those two issues together, to me, you need to deal more with your present employee with the health insurance issue than your retiree. However, again, like I said before, if 3 council members want to create a line item on the agenda and to do that, and 4 of you vote on it, I have no problem with it. You know, it's your call. As 3 of you, if you feel strongly about that issue, if 3 of you feel strongly about that issue, about giving the retiree cost of living adjustment, we can put it on the, notify the city secretary, we can put it on the agenda for second meeting in September, and you vote on it, and a line item in the budget, we change it and we deal with it. But it's gonna be additional $60,000 to $70,000 cost. And it's gonna stay, is gonna be happening every year, so.
Just, you can't separate school and city business. That's why I feel at home. You really can't. You really can't. There's very few of us, it's shrinking group that's got a defined benefit program, like the city employees, and my heart goes out to them, because effective August 31, I'm gonna be a retiree from the teacher retirement system. And it is a defined benefit program. I'm very fortunate to have the benefits that I'm gonna get, but mine is locked in, and the cost of living, the COLAs no longer exist for teachers either. And again, that's a fact of life that you plan. And again, like myself, I intend to actively, after August 31, be in the job market. As long as my health, and I'm good health right now, and I intend to, those of you in Facebook land, be looking for a job August, September 1. Get that plug in.
Do not advertise yourself.
I'm just saying, this is one thing, my heart goes out to the retirees. It does. And I'm in the same boat myself. And I know what inflation does as it picks up. I realize that. So, but again, I think from a financial standpoint, we cannot, once we do that, we commit for future years, and it just, the budget, I don't think we can afford to do that right now from a financial standpoint. And I agree with everything you said, Mr. Abraham.
Well, the other thing is, it's not just the city employees that have retired that are not seeing a cost increase. I mean, there's an awful lot of retirement plans throughout that have no cost increase. So, I mean, people that retire out of L3, you don't get a cost increase. What you got is what you got. And there's a lot of people out there. And so I understand what Masood said and, you know, like he identified. I mean, right now, we're talking a 3% pay increase for the current employees. I mean, if we were to take and cut back, then that would be a line item that we would reduce. So you'd penalize the people that are working now to help the people that retire. So it's just one of those things that happens. I mean, it's up to the council to look at and address. But it's not just the city employees are not the only one that face that.
But again, those of us with defined benefit programs are very fortunate. It's a disappearing thing. I look at my friends, I look at relatives, and there's very few of us. I feel very fortunate to have a defined benefit program.
Any other budget questions, James? No. Sue, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 5:37, and we will go out of our work session, and we'll reconvene at 6 p.m. Thank you.
You want to go into executive session?
We live in a world of technology. We're always connected. Everything is based on technology. What do you do when your technology breaks down? You call Digital Solutions. Located on Wesley Street in Greenville, Digital Solutions Technology Partners is there to get you fixed up. From business support to home computer repair, Digital Solutions Technology Partners will get your tech issues resolved. Visit us online at www.techresolve.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/DSTPI. You can call our office at 903-259-64